Good afternoon and welcome to our first meeting of the year. It's cold outside, but it's warm in here. I'd like to welcome those of you in our council chambers and those of you watching us on our Electric City Television. The invocation tonight will be given by Councilman Matt Harbin, and I will lead us in another Roberts, respect the flag. Mayor Pro Tem John Roberts. Please rise.
I'll be Roberts.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, thank you for letting us live in a free country. Continue to bless our country, our state, and our city. And I pray for our first responders that are in harm's way protecting our freedom. I pray for all our city employees, including our council, that we may make a difference in the upcoming year in the lives of our fellow citizens. And I remember Dr. King's words, the time is always right to do what is right. Continue to bless the decisions of this council that will be pleasing in your eye. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The minutes of the December 11th meeting have been distributed. Are there any corrections or additions to those minutes? Not hearing any, do I have a motion to approve? Have first by Dr. Thompson, a second by Mr. Lockridge. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes of December 11th pass unanimously. We have one item of old business, and I'm going to ask an item right before our executive session, so we'll move directly into our new business. And our first item of new business is request consideration of an ordinance to annex and zone to RM18 multifamily residential 5020 through 5026 Simpson Road. Ms. McCall.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Chapman.
I recuse myself of my potential involvement with this project.
Let the record note that Mr. Chapman has recused himself from this item, and he will leave the council chambers, and we will get him back when we are done with this item. Ms. McCall.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to call upon Planning and Development Director Maurice McKenzie to walk us through this request.
The applicant is Calvary Home for Children, and they wish to annex two parcels of land, and each one has a residential duplex located on each individual parcel of land. They've owned these lots for several years now, and they've been using them. The parcels of land are adjacent to their main campus, and that property is already inside the city limits. It's zoned RM18 multifamily residential. So they wish to annex these two parcels of land so they will be in the same jurisdiction, so they can receive city services, so it can all be as one. By annexing it and zoning it to RM18 multifamily residential, they can continue to do as they're currently doing on the property. The staff recommends approval of this. The Planning Commission considered this at their meeting last week, and they also recommend approval of it. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. The applicants are here. If you have any specific questions, or if you have any questions for me, let me know.
Thank you, sir. I'll open it up to questions, comments. Mr. Lockridge.
Did we have any neighbors that had any problems with it?
No, sir, none.
It was all favorable?
Yeah, nobody came out, nobody called, spoke for or against.
Okay.
Property was posted, but none spoke.
Ms.
Okay.
Harbin. Sorry, Ms. Harbin.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You finished?
I'm done.
I've had a couple of chances to spend some time out there, and I think what they're doing is fabulous for our community. And from a solar farm to a lot of other things that they've got going on, it seems like they really have doing such a fantastic job for some of the children in our community. So with that, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Have a first, we have a second by Dr. Thompson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously on the first reading. Thank you. Our second item is request consideration of resolutions authorizing execution of mutual aid agreements between the City of Anderson, the City of Clemson, the Town of Williamston, and the Town of West Pelzer. Ms. McConnell?
Mr. Mayor and Council, this is not something that is unusual for you to see. We've had mutual aid agreements with other cities previously, but these are things that you see on an annual basis. In your package, you will note that the language in each of the agreements is the same. Because of what this is actually requiring, the only thing that's changed in the agreements is the name of the city or the town. I'd like to ask Chief Stewart to tell you a little bit more about these three agreements.
Yes, ma'am, and council members, Mr. Mayor. This is your standard agreement that we've followed over the last several years. They are just being updated. As you're familiar, we assisted the City of Clemson in the previous year with the national championship when they had a parade. The City of Clemson didn't have enough staff to maintain that parade, and our personnel did go up and assist Chief Dixon. With the towns of Williamston and West Pelzer, we're often assisting them with narcotics cases, with our criminal investigative division cases, and it allows our people to be able to go outside the city and assist. And of course, in any natural disaster or emergency, that would allow us to go help our fellow municipalities.
Good. How many of these do we have, Chief?
These are three different, but ranging in our packet in the file, we have about 30 mutual aids right now.
30 mutual aids. Any other comments, questions?
I would like to move that we go ahead and adopt this mutual aid agreement.
First by Ms. Lockhart, second by Mr. Roberts, Buck Roberts. Any further discussion?
Chief, will all the rest of the 27 mutual aid agreements, will they be coming forward during this year or in different intervals, or when do you expect them?
These agreements that you had today were approached to me by the other chiefs. We have updated some in the past, and those are still good as long as everything remains the same with the division head, with the chiefs in those cities. If it does come to that point where we need to update them, yes, sir, I'll surely bring them to your attention.
And these were updated for what reason? Because they expired for 1 year?
It could be because there's a new chief in that area, or a new sheriff.
Good question. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, as we've sent this around, please take note that there are three resolutions.
Our third item of new business is request consideration of a resolution authorizing the closure of First Avenue to vehicular traffic and altering the use. Ms. McConnell.
Many of you, I'm sure, are familiar with St. Francis Park, and First Avenue is one of the streets that borders St. Francis Park, and we're currently doing some improvements at that park, and our Parks and Recreation Division Director, Bobby Bevel, is going to share more about this.
Thank you, Mr. McConnell. In your packet, there's a couple pictures on the third page that will probably explain a little bit better the visual as I go through this. First Avenue is on one side of St. Francis Park, Second Avenue on the other side next to Friendship Court. First Avenue has been closed probably and as we were beginning to do some work over there, putting in a new playground and swing structure, and that road being blocked off, we felt like it was time to maybe permanently close it to traffic and use it as a place where people could walk, kids ride bikes, skateboards, whatever, in a safer environment. That road hasn't been used. There's a wooded parcel on the lower side. There's no curb cuts, emergency vehicles don't use this. This has been a cut-through street for years, but no one has really complained with First Avenue being temporarily closed. But we would like to close it to traffic and then come back and create either some landscaping, but keep it open for kids to be able to ride a bike and more safely environment kind of thing. So we bring tonight a resolution to alter the use of First Avenue and close it to vehicular traffic.
Thank you. Just looking visually at the site, who owns the wooded area?
Below that,
Yeah.
it's a mill in Easley, isn't it, Frankie?
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah, there's
easily addressed.
Easley address, yes.
Huh.
I think it's a good idea because we're doing some work on that park now, and I don't think that road needs to interfere specialist.
It doesn't come, you can take Second Avenue and come out the same place, and that's where most of the people do. It would create a safer area for kids to be able to play, and parents only have to worry about traffic on one side.
That's a great idea. It's in my area, so I move that we accept this.
Second.
First by Dr. Thompson, second by Mr. Lockridge. Any further discussion?
Hey Frankie, I know like we did over at the Greeley Park, where we looked at trying to assemble those parcels over there, and the mayor just made a good point. Could you just, see if maybe that mill would want to donate us that little piece of land that could go with that park over there, that little wooded area? You mind looking into it?
Check on it. Yeah, I'm not even familiar with the name of it right now. I looked at C something, RS something, easily,
We can explore that.
but we could look at that.
That would be a good thing.
Could be a good idea.
Yep.
Good idea.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Our last item of new business is request consideration of an engineering contract with Alliance Consulting Engineers for the Heritage Corridor Grant Project under the bridge. Ms. McConnell.
We've talked about this project before. We're grateful that we have a grant in place to help with this project, and Mary Haley Thompson is going to bring you all up to speed on some of the past history and where we currently are and what we're asking for this evening.
Okay, so just to start us off, I'm just going to display a few of the before pictures or what the project site looks like currently.
Mary Haley, can you stand closer to the mic?
Oh, yeah.
Or pull the mic, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so this is just the site as is, just so that you kind of have a grasp of the area we're referring to. So, all right, so as you all know, the City of Anderson received a grant from the South Carolina National Heritage Corridor in the amount of $30,000 for the Under the Bridge project that has been on our capital improvements list since fiscal year 2014. The project provides an opportunity to expand east-west connections and development potential, as well as serve as a gateway to an underdeveloped West End. On June 26, City Council supported this project by approving $116,000 of TIF and hospitality funds to be allocated towards its completion. The next step in moving forward is to request the following items: boundary and topo survey, conceptual park design, and preliminary construction cost opinion for the projects. And we had a council drop-in on December 18th for those of you that wanted to review this information. And so the proposed contract with Alliance Consulting Engineers outlines such services for a contract price of $11,600. The staff recommends approval of this contract with Alliance Consulting Engineers in order to fully grasp the scope of work and design in order to put forth a plan to implement its success.
Well, great. I know several of us were able to come to the
What seat is that in there?
Ma'am?
What seat is that area?
What council seat is that?
Oh,
I would imagine it's me and John,
yeah.
Matt's, and probably yours.
Well, and it's
Yeah.
probably,
I'm thinking it's
I think that would put it in yours.
It doesn't matter, it's still, but I just wonder.
Well, and if you remember, this is Mary Haley's showing with the photographs, this is primarily a beautification, cleanup, aesthetic project that opens the door for us to do other things. And we're certainly trying to utilize the grant dollars, but, and what looks like a really simple, a very simple project is made a little more complicated because you've got not only the Department of Transportation to deal with, but we also have the railroad to deal with as well, and thinking ahead, some utility issues also. So it's not without some work that needs to be done on the engineering stage, but what you would be moving forward with tonight is simply the engineering piece that tells us the design of the project and what that looks like in its whole scope, and then you can determine later if you want to proceed in phases or bite off pieces of it or whatever. But $11,600 gets you, as Mary Haley said, the boundary and topo survey, the conceptual part design, and the construction cost opinion. And that is within what we believe would be your normal range of 9 to 12% for this type of professional services.
Well, I think, yeah, go ahead, Dr. Thompson.
It's a bad looking place, and we've been talking about it for years. As for the homeless people, stay, and it's not a good area. We've got a couple of restaurants in that area. And this would clean it up and beautify it, so it's a good idea. And make it safer.
I think it is. I'm excited about the potential of it.
I have maybe it's a silly question. How old is that bridge?
How old is it?
That bridge?
In the 50s, I would say.
It's actually had
It's got a date.
It's actually had an extension to it on either side. So you see the original bridge with the arcs, and then on either side of it, you see the additional steel pillars that go up, and that was the addition when it was widened. So
Okay.
you have the original one, and then the
But it-
most recent addition.
The bridge is in good shape.
It's in real good shape,
Okay, that's
from what DOT tells us.
Is that going to include the old bus station that was under the bridge? What's going to happen with the old bus station?
It's private.
It's private, that property is
That's that
privately
white building
owned.
right there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
what is the time frame for this, the $11,600 worth of work?
It outlines in the contract that the services will be completed in 3 weeks upon approval.
Okay.
Or they can begin within 3 weeks. We can confirm the period of time.
It will begin or be completed.
No, they can begin their work within 3 weeks of approval. I'm not certain about the amount of time
The time frame?
it will take to do the work.
Could we follow up and maybe shoot an email out to
Be glad
everybody?
to.
Thank you.
Anything else, guys?
With that, I'd make a motion we accept it as presented.
Second.
First by Mr. Chapman, second by Dr. Thompson. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Administrative briefing?
In your package, you have a quarterly progress report. This gives you kind of a status report on where we are on a lot of the major issues from the past in terms of the major priorities that we were working on, as well as major projects. So you can certainly take a look at that at your leisure and call us if you have any questions about anything. As far as the calendar is concerned, we've got the Anderson County Municipal Association meeting in Belton. That's Thursday evening at 7 p.m. And then on Friday, we have Martin Luther King breakfast at the Civic Center. The doors open, I believe, at 7:45, and the breakfast starts at 8:15, so I know you will make plans to attend that. It promises to be an entertaining as well as an uplifting program this year, and certainly thank Brandy, Bell Greer, and others who've worked on that event for us. On Monday, city offices will be closed for Martin Luther King's birthday. And on the 16th, the Westside Community Coalition, it will not be meeting on the 16th. They'll kick off their meeting sessions in February. And Mr. Mayor, that's all we have in regular session. We do have the one item in executive session.
Thank you. And that item will be request second reading of ordinance 18-01 regarding the sale of city-owned property located at the corner of East Market and South Main Street.
And specifically for the discussion of those negotiations related to that.
And I would entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
First by Mr. Buck Roberts. Second by the Mayor Pro Tem. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We stand in executive session. Are we staying, Linda?
Yes.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to come out of executive session.
So moved.
First by Mr. Lockett, second by Mr. Buck Roberts. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We stand out of executive session. The City Council had previously passed on the first reading ordinance to sell a portion of city-owned property at East Market Street and South Main Street with the contract details to be negotiated. What we did just now in executive session was the council reviewed the contract and the memorandum of understanding, the MOU, and based upon that review and discussion, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the ordinance on second reading, authorizing the mayor to execute a memorandum of understanding and a contract for the sale of the property, and upon closing, to execute a deed conveying the property to Long Shot LLC.
We have first, Mr. Stewart.
Second.
Second by Mr. Lockridge. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. Having no other business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. First by Dr. Thompson, second by Mr. Newton. All those in favor say aye. Opposed?
Aye.
We stand adjourned.
Oh.